Deep trouble here.
St. Mary's County. They're on the front porch today.
Today is the 8th regular meeting of the Lake County Board of Commissioners. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the invocation. Dear God, please bless our meeting today. May our discussions be fruitful, our decisions wise, and our community strong. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll.
Commissioner Regovich.
Here.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present. Prior to public comment, we have two special items on the agenda today. First, a special certificate, a special recognition for former mayor of Willoughby, Ohio, and for the retiring executive director of our Lake Development Authority, formerly known as the Lake Port Authority, David E. Anderson. And I would ask if Commissioner Regovich would take a moment to read our resolution honoring former director, former Mayor Anderson for his many years of service to the people of Lake County.
Thank you. On occasion of his retirement from the Lake Development Authority, whereas David E. Anderson embarked on his journey with the Lake Development Authority as an esteemed executive director on June 29th, 2020, David is set to bid farewell to his role on February 28, 2024, leaving behind a legacy of excellence and leadership. And whereas he is a lifelong resident of Lake County, a graduate from Willoughby South High School in 1970, later attended Cleveland State University, he acquired expertise in strategic planning, fiscal management, and economic development. And whereas Dave has been active in numerous civic and governmental activities and an advocate for Lake County residents, he has served on the boards of Leadership Lake County, the United Way, the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, Lakeland Foundation Board, and was board president of NOACA and chairman of the Lake County Narcotics Agency. He was elected mayor of the city of Willoughby in November of 1991. During his tenure, Willoughby received awards from Cleveland Restoration Society, the American Institute of Architects for revitalization efforts made under his leadership in historic downtown. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners in and of Lake County, Ohio, extend its sincere gratitude to David E. Anderson for his years of dedication, service, and leadership to the Lake Development Authority. The board wishes Dave a healthy, peaceful, and rewarding retirement spent traveling with his lovely wife, Donna.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Director, the floor is yours.
I would just quickly, because I know you're busy here, just let you know what a pleasure it has been for the last 3.5 years working with all of you, individually and together. When I became mayor in the early 90s, I had just read a book by Dick Cheney, and it was a book on leadership, and it was based on his experiences during as Secretary of Defense during the first Kuwait War. And it was something I took away from that book, and he said that any CEO, any leaders, any CEO's biggest job is hiring the right people to do the jobs there. And he talked about hiring Colin Powell as his general, and that's why it went so well. And I can tell you that I took that to heart. I did that in Willoughby. I got very, very lucky at LDA because a lot of these folks were here when I got here. Debbie, Patty, Tim was here, and they do such a marvelous job. And then we were so pleased to steal Patrick away from the county, who stole him from us, and then finding Miranda down in Worcester. to come up and do the job she's doing. So I will say that, the success that this agency has, 95% of it is because of these people right here, and it has been such an honor to work with them. And I also really have to mention Jason Boyd, who is been like a partner in so much of this. Was a constituent of mine in Willoughby, and has been such a partner. So thank you so much for the resolution. Thank you so much for your support of the LDA here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners, cabinet, any comments?
How about this? We call it recruiting there. That's not stealing. We're recruiting.
Mr. Mr. President, I would just say how fortunate my career, as many of you know, I started as a mayor in 2016, and Dave was kind of finishing up. I got to spend a couple years overlap there, and I learned so much in a very little time. I remember my first event where he and I were a speaker for the Realtors Association, and they wanted to talk to us about our point of sale, and they didn't like our point of sale, and Dave stood up and talked first, and I said, well, the first thing he said was, well, when you get a crowd like this, you have to stand in front of them. So I was next. I said, well, I'm going to stand because Dave Anderson's been here a long time, and I'm going to do exactly as he does. So it kind of broke the ice for me, and we were able to explain our point of sale, and they understood it better. And just in a short amount of time, the things I learned and took from his poise, the way he handled himself, I truly appreciate it, Dave. It's been a great time these past however many years to be able to work with you here. The things you've done at the county level, as people may or may not know, the Lake Development Authority is our economic development arm, which is a very important thing in Lake County to keep the county growing and thriving. So thank you for all you did. Well-deserved vacation. I hope you vacation better than Tim does.
Thank you.
Just on behalf of staff, I would like to thank Dave. We could talk about all the accomplishments he's made both at the Development Authority and at the city of Willoughby, but I just want to tell a quick story of what Dave truly means by staff. Dave's always the first one in the office. He's in at 7 a.m. And we had this old coffee maker, and Dave always made sure staff had coffee when we came in. We always had a fresh pot when we came in. And we're a bunch of coffee drinkers here over at LDA. And always nice to come in, just after a long day, just to make sure you had a fresh cup of coffee always made for you. So, Dave, thanks for always putting us first, and we appreciate it on behalf of staff. Thank you.
Yeah,
Mr. Boyd.
Briefly, Mayor Anderson, when I was coming here in 99, 2000, interview for entry-level planning commission spot, never been to Lake County. I drove, my fiance at the time, now my wife, we drove through Willoughby, downtown Willoughby, and in about 32 seconds, we realized that's where we were going to settle down, and it was because of the revitalization efforts of downtown Willoughby and the lakefront that the mayor and his council and all his department heads did. And we stopped in 1899 that afternoon. It's a little mom and pop bar on the corner, and he said we walked around, and I said, this is where we're going to be. And we bought our first house on Glenwood, moved 60 feet a few years later to the house adjacent to us, and it was that sense of place that Dave and his staff and administration provided that created that destination. I always say there's three places in your life. There's your work, there's your home, and then your third place. And in a community in downtown, in Willoughby, it's downtown Willoughby. That's when you say Willoughby, you think of downtown Willoughby. You have home, you have work, and then what's your third place? And that resonated to me, and we're happy we're in Willoughby, and a lot of thanks to you. And I remember the mayor sitting me down in Arabica years ago. We were talking about parking problems. He said, parking was a problem in downtown Willoughby in the early 80s because we had a hell of a lot of it. He goes, parking today, if people have to drive around a little bit to park, we'll live with that. And we hear that a lot here, that parking is a problem, and but his quote was well taken, that it was a problem when we had vacancies, empty buildings. Now downtown Willoughby is thriving, and if you got to drive around a few minutes to find a spot to park and walk to your destination, so be it. So that always resonated with me on amongst many other topics that Dave mentored me on. So thank you, and we'll see you in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there's not sufficient time to say a proper thank you to someone who's made such an incredible contribution to not only the city of Willoughby, but all of Lake County and Northeast Ohio. But you can certainly hear from your colleagues and your neighbors that you will be dearly missed. And the only reason that we will allow you to leave is because you've done such a great job in cultivating the next generation of leadership in the Lake Development Authority, who will continue your philosophy and your work effort. It was a tall order to find folks who could follow in your footsteps, but you've done that. So you've hired your Colin Powell. And we are grateful to you for that enduring legacy, so that the great economic development doesn't stop with you but continues. And we hope that you will enjoy many, many years as a resident, seeing the fruits of your labor as Lake County and Willoughby continue to thrive together.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And if you would, we would like to honor you with your certificate. Now the official one. And now our second special item before public portion. Our Sheriff Franklin and Bruno had the opportunity to go down to Washington, D.C. with many sheriffs from across the country, including the Sheriff of Butler County. He's issued a press release to talk about what he's learned and things he wants to share with all of our neighbors in Lake County for their safety. And I asked if he would be willing to join us to give a special presentation on his concerns and his thoughts on moving forward in what has become a more dangerous world. But we're very grateful to our sheriff for taking the time not only to represent us in Washington, D.C., but to come back to Lake County and share his thoughts. So I would invite Sheriff Franklin and Bruno to come up and report on what he has learned.
Good morning. Yes, recently the Sheriff of Butler County, which is just north of Cincinnati there, held a news conference, and it's been shown nationally. It's been on numerous talk shows because he spoke about the growing threat of terrorism across the United States and how his county is responding and preparing to such threats in his community. Since that time, we at the Lake County Sheriff's Office received numerous calls, emails, inquiry by our citizens in our community asking if we saw the video and also if we could respond to how we're doing similar preparations. Chief Deputy Robert Izzo, my partner in crime at the Lake County Sheriff's Office, and I attended the same national conference, the National Sheriff's Association Conference in Washington in February. In fact, we went with our partners in Geauga County, Sheriff Scott Hildebrand and his Chief Deputy Thomas Rowan. We share the same concerns. Here's some of the things that we learned. We met with the National Sheriff's Association Border Committee. This is made up of the southern border sheriffs for the most part. And those southern border sheriffs emphasized that all states in the United States, all counties in the United States are now border counties. Why? They explained that the majority of people coming across our southern border illegally today are single males of military age. They come from 147 different countries. We have no idea where they are in the United States. During this open border, over 8 million people have come across the border that have checked in. Every estimate says 2 million gotaways, people who have come across our border, and we have no idea where they're at in the United States. It was noted by the Border Patrol that their resources have been diverted from the northern border down to the southern border. Pretty much our northern border is wide open. And they say that is now the growing spot across the United States, which many people are beginning to illegally enter into the United States. These are not law-abiding citizens looking for a better life. These are criminals. For instance, in the Tucson sector, which is 78 miles, when I was there at the southern border, the Cochise County Sheriff's Office said this is the sector where all criminals come across. These are people they don't want to come through those checkpoints. They reflected a belief that the unknown gotaways may be linked to many terrorist organizations across the world. And the concern is we have no idea where they're at on our border. At the conference, we met in a closed-door session with representatives from the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF. They detailed, just to law enforcement, in a closed-door session specifically about the attacks on October 7th. They showed us about a 45-minute video of unedited video from Hamas terrorists wore body cameras, from dash cams in vehicles, and from films inside some of the houses in Israel. To me, it was the most horrific footage that I have ever witnessed. Civilians were slaughtered, adults and children were beheaded, shot in their cribs. Young girls were raped and tortured. People were burned alive. Those are just a few images that are imprinted on my mind. As well, we heard actual conversations from Hamas terrorists where they took the cell phones and called back to their friends and families and raved. One young man was saying, "Mom, Dad, I've killed over 10 Israelis. I'm a hero." And you hear in the background his mother saying, "Kill them all, kill them all." The IDF explained in interviews that they conducted with the terrorists that the terrorists said they hate Americans just as much as they hate Israelis. And more concerning, they said we're in the United States and we're going to carry out similar attacks in the United States. In every meeting that we attended, whether that was with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, to the Governmental Affairs Committees, to Homeland Security, it was emphasized at every one of those meetings that deputy sheriffs and police officers on the streets in the United States are the first and only line of defense against these attacks. The IDF explained, and this is the military, said we did not respond to these attacks for 6 to 8 hours on October 7th. It was the police officers on the street with a handgun that held off Hamas. They said, to give you some idea, 1,400 Israelis were killed. To give you some comparison, if you compared that with the population of the United States, 52,000 Americans would have died that day. They said American law enforcement needs to be trained to think differently to think terrorism first and need to be physically equipped to respond to similar attacks. FBI Director Christopher Wray in October made a statement to the Senate Homeland Security Committee, and here's what he said. Here in the United States, our most immediate concern is violent extremists and individuals in small groups. They will draw inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks against Americans going about their daily lives. Hamas or another foreign terrorist organization may conduct attacks here on our own soil. What I'm here today, what we heard clearly in Washington, D.C. is it's not a matter if such attacks will come, it's when they will come. So in response to our citizens, what are we doing here in Lake County? Fortunately, we at the Lake County Sheriff's Office, as well as our policing partners throughout Lake County in every city, have been training our deputies and our police officers to be prepared for the significant threats to our communities that are being realized today. This includes equipping our deputies with modern weaponry and increased ammunition for extended attacks. One of the things that the IDF said, our police officers had limited magazines for their handguns, and they quickly ran out of ammunition. We need to think differently, they said. We need protective gear, provide critical training. We have a SWAT team here in Lake County. It's the first SWAT team in Ohio, established in the 1970s. It now includes members of the Geauga County and Ashtabula County Sheriff's Offices, police departments from across our area that include Painesville City, Madison Township, Chesterland, Middlefield, just to name a few. Monthly training and real-time missions have been prepared, and they prepare them to be one of the best skilled response teams in Ohio. In a crisis, they can respond to assist throughout Lake County, Geauga County, and Ashtabula County. In 2023, with the assistance of the Lake County Commissioners, we completed a renovation to our range that now includes not only a live range, but classrooms that provide in-house training and bring in outside web-based training from all over the United States. It is now equipped with computer technology, where every officer from across Lake County, every police department in Lake County, can enter a video environment and be confronted by multiple scenarios where they are confronted with various threats, make split-second decisions, and shoot or don't shoot scenarios. Further, the new training facility is equipped with a simunitions building where officers move through a changing walled environment to experience changing situations and threats. For years, the Lake County Sheriff's Office has participated in the Northern Border Initiative, working with our Border Patrol to be proactive in finding threats to our security along the northern border. That has changed. Today, that program is known as Operation Stone Garden. By our participation, we receive federal funding to pay our skilled deputies to work with the Border Patrol to conduct drug interdiction, combat human trafficking across the Interstates 90 and State Route 2, and the communities in their paths. This detail also works to identify Mexican cartel operatives and other terror threats to our Lake County communities. In this process, we have been joined by local police departments from Lake County who participate in Operation Stone Garden. I'm proud to say that our Stone Garden work is one of the most active and highest producing in the United States. Today, we are changing our mindset to think terrorism first. In Washington, we were given information from throughout the United States that you don't see very often. In Brooks County, Texas, over 953 dead bodies have been found in 1,000 square miles that make up that county, and 7 deputies are there to patrol that county. People who have been hung, shot, killed, or died coming across the border. After 9/11, everyone asked, how did we miss this? Why aren't we seeing the signs? Today, the signs are all around us. And we realize that we as local law enforcement are the first line of defense against terrorism. Whether through cyber attacks on our critical infrastructures, physical attacks on our energy sources and key infrastructures, killing our citizens with fentanyl-laced drugs trafficked across our borders, or persons crossing our borders illegally who mean to do us harm. We as local law enforcement on our streets need to be trained and prepared to respond. We remain proactive in finding such threats before they occur, to interact with our communities on keeping them educated to threats, and working with our legislators to provide adequate funding and create new laws to address these new threats. I'm not up here to spread panic through our community. It's to raise awareness. Today, we face adversaries who want to eliminate us, to eliminate our society. You know, it's a concept. It's a concept outside the imagination of the everyday person in the United States on the streets, who can't comprehend this barbarism and hate and willingness to create havoc and kill at will. We must think anew and act anew, and never let the safety of our community be taken for granted. Thank you for hearing me this morning, and I appreciate you let me share that message. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, it's time to open public portion. If a member of the public would like to address the Board of Lake County Commissioners, please approach the podium, and you have 3 minutes after saying your name and address. Go ahead.
My name is Juad Mebel, 1049 Brentwood Drive, Pennsville, Ohio. It is a blessing to stand here. I've been here now for 40 years. 40 years is wonderful to me because I didn't know what God was going to do. But I'm here to say thank you. Thank you to our Lake County Commissioners. You have, with God, all things are possible. And every time I spend $1, I see it says, in God we trust. It's important to me that I stand here. It's important to me that I recall great people that I work with. There are 10 people. 4 of them are in this room. But if I have to choose one person that's very important to my lifetime as a citizen in this community, is our sheriff, Lake County Sheriff Frank Leon Bueno. And I give God the praise for that. Because since I came here in 1983, I have peace to sleep and to wake up when I didn't have that in my homeland, Haiti. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Music, 45 Coventry Drive, and the sheriff just took a lot of what I was going to say away, but I want to say one thing. We have a great sheriff and a great chief deputy back there. It all starts with leadership. Those 2 gentlemen are 2 strong public servant leaders. They are serving the people. And the thing about it is, without leadership, you know, we have all these counties in the country and we have some parishes down in Louisiana. And the thing about it is, I have to say, In some of those locations, they don't have law enforcement. And the thing about it, the sheriff has said, I agree with him 100%. I read his press release many times. I have in here about what the director of FBI has said about, that's Director Ray, about all this stuff going on. And you know, I've been working on this for over 25 years. And years ago, me and a couple other people and a national group, we had a meeting in Ashtabula County with Billy Johnson, sheriff of Ashtabula, Dan McClellan, and he brought his dog, I think it's Midget, and then Dan Dunlap was there, and I was the MC, and the place was packed. What it was about the sheriffs all spoke, and then people could ask questions. The room was packed. And the thing about it is, as you know, I've talked to the angel moms. I don't know if you know, angel moms are people who have had people killed by illegal aliens. I've talked to them many times. I have been, when I go to DC, I've met with the angel moms and also the NSA, National Sheriff. I've talked to sheriffs all over the country, and I agree 100% what our sheriff is saying, 100%. And the sad thing about it is, there's a lot of people that have lost their lives. And what happens, you know, and just like here, I have a copy of all the port of entries for the Border Patrol here in Ohio. Most people probably don't know where they're at. And like he said, there's taken a lot of the Border Patrol agents and put them down south. But in the meantime, they're walking across the northern border. I just saw a thing the other day saying that there are more known terrorists coming across the northern border than the southern border at this point. And who knows, like you talk about the gotaways. The gotaways, we have no idea who they are. And there was this Venezuelan gang. These people are getting out of the jails in Venezuela, and they're joining the MS-13 gangs and everything else here, and so forth. So I'm going to run out of time. So I just want to say, give a huge thankful for those two gentlemen for leading our sheriff's department. It all starts at the top. And those two gentlemen are doing a great job, and I thank them for doing what they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion?
Chris Bahari at 185 West Jackson. I'd just like to thank our sheriff and all the law enforcement people that are planning and organizing and developing to take the responsibility to give protection not only to our citizens here and all people in Lake County, but to really give support and care for all people in Ohio and the United States. And I would like to thank Bishop Merble for his 40 years working and hard from a country that has really suffered so much and understanding all these problems. And as our motto here, with God, all things are possible. So this is the celebration day of Foundation Day of 11 years now. It is the foundation of freedom and God's family and building the kingdom of God on earth. So we want to be thankful for all that God has given us and really take responsibility as caretakers to really secure that love and peace of not only individuals, but family and country. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion? Anyone else for public portion? Anyone else?
Don't worry, Commissioner Pledgeton, I'm going to give you a break today. I'm Chris Weiss from 6000 Trask Road in Leroy, and I only came up to speak because of what the sheriff had to say. I would implore you, once again, as I've done in the past, now's the time as a Board of Commissioners to act and fund purchasing encrypted radios for all of our first responders throughout the county, to include the Sheriff's Department. Oftentimes I go to the Flavors at the Square restaurant over here and happen to be there a couple different times. A gentleman who's kind of a quasi-street person around Paynesville, rides a bike around, pops into restaurants, sits there for a couple hours. Guy's name, I think, is Alan Gray. He had a little radio in his hand, set it on the table. As I'm eating breakfast with my sons, I'm hearing police communications coming across the radio. Engaged the guy in a conversation. I said, "Hey, what's that?" "It's a scanner." I said, "So what are you listening to?" He goes, "I can listen to all the command channels." He could tell me the frequencies, the actual frequency numbers of the primary and the alternate channels for law enforcement and fire response and so forth. And engaged him. I said, "Where do you get the scanner?" "Oh, bought it off the internet." And basically, if I had asked him to, he was more than happy to teach me all this stuff, which I really don't need to know because I don't have any reason to be monitoring the police command channels. But, you know, you should take notice from what the sheriff said. He's not lying, okay? It's a real threat. And when that threat becomes active, I don't think he's got enough manpower to deal with the problem without calling up citizens to help him. But what you can do to help him is to get him these encrypted radios. I know it costs something like $1.1 million, okay? But that's a solid investment in the security of our first responders, because I can tell you, as a former military guy, that one of the best ways to launch your attack is to lay an ambush, okay? Set a building on fire, whatever, car accident. Attack the first responders and then lay a trap for the secondary and third responders and the SWAT team when they come. And even though the SWAT team's radios are most likely encrypted, all the other ones aren't. And so you can still pick up what's going on from the net traffic, and these people are sophisticated enough to know how to do that. They've been trained by their own governments to do that. So once again, I want to ask you, I want to implore you, okay? You guys spent money that could have gone to those radios on fixing the roofs at the county fair, okay, at the fairgrounds. Well, I can tell you, those concrete buildings that Sidley put up, the horses don't care if the rain drips on their heads, okay? But I'm sure our first responders care if they're going to wind up in an ambush one day. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion? Sheriff?
Not to prolong this, I want to make sure our community knows that the Lake County Commissioners have been very active in supporting law enforcement. I know Mr. Weiss talked about the radios. They did pay for new radios for the Lake County Sheriff's Office. They've been delayed putting in because of the state reviewing some of the technology aspects, but they have been approved and we're in the process of putting those forward. What's problematic for Lake County, and really I think for the commissioners, not to speak for you, but the cost of technology. Each radio, when I began, it was about $1,500 for a radio. Today it's over $5,000 for radios. The current radios that we have are going out of service. They'll stay in, you can use them, but new encryption has to be put in and new technologies. It's very complex. Further, the Lake County Commissioners step forward, and as I mentioned in what I said before, they invested a significant amount of money in redoing Lake County Sheriff's Office range. And they did that based on the support that every Lake County Police Department is able to come to our training facility and use that. And there's no cost to that. It's a cost carried by the Lake County Commissioners in, first of all, putting in all this technology, building this range, and then making this training possible. The Ohio Tactical Officers Association representative said this is one of the best training facilities currently in the state of Ohio. And Lake County is very fortunate to have this. There's also the backbone to the radio system itself, the software, whether that's through out at our Central Communications Center, which is one of the best equipped communication centers in Northeast Ohio. I encourage anybody that wants to come out and visit, we can arrange a tour just to see what has been invested there in terms of communication systems. So I feel it's important that I stand up and say the Lake County Commissioners have been very active in providing these resources to our Lake County community, and I think that's important for everyone to understand that.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion? Seeing none, we will move to resolutions. Madam Clerk.
In the Utilities Department, resolution accepting a 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $1,860 for the Main Avenue Waterline Extension Job Number 23-49 in Perry Township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations within Lake County Department of Utilities, Project Fund 596, Kirtland Old Town Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project 445S, 2021 contracts. Project's appropriation is increased for Phase 2 construction expense.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Resolution awarding a bid contract in the amount of $2,176,321 to Shivers Construction Company for Kirtland Old Town Sanitary Improvements, Phase 2, Project 445S, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can we get a little background? Just
Commissioner?
Randy?
Sure, thank you, Commissioner. This project is the second phase, as the resolution states, of our Kirtland Old Town Sanitary Sewer Project, assessment project for the city of Kirtland, where there was findings and orders by EPA. This will satisfy those findings and orders when this project is complete within this year, and we look forward to getting this project done. It's a long time coming. We've been working with the city of Kirtland for a couple of years on this.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
In Job and Family Services Department, resolution adopting the Lake County Workforce Development Board and the Lake County Youth Committee.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution authorizing the Lake County Board of Commissioners to enter into a federal equitable sharing agreement with the United States Department of Justice and the United States Department of the Treasury on behalf of the Lake County Prosecuting Attorney's Office and the Lake County Sheriff's Office to receive federally forfeited property and/or funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
I'm aware that both Judge DeLeon and Clerk of Courts Andrews would like to speak on this particular motion, so I would invite them to come forward. Oh,
That's probably saying, never mind.
well, they will be very prepared for the next resolution. Any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes. The giant bold red on my agenda distracted me a little. But nonetheless, next resolution.
Resolution authorizing execution of an agreement with Cobra Systems Incorporated and the Lake County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Lake County Juvenile Court for a new case management system in the amount of $750,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
And now, Judge DeLeon and Clerk Andrews.
Commissioners, I want to start off by saying thank you. This is a historic moment for the juvenile court. Our software is pretty old. It's functional, but it's outdated. Currently, if you were an attorney and wanted to review your file, you would have to come into our office and meet with our clerk staff and review the file manually in paper. If you wanted to look up something on the docket, you would have to come into our office, meet with the clerk's office, and see what's on the docket through a court computer. This is due to some confidentiality laws for minors and juveniles that we can't share the information openly, publicly on the internet. However, this new software will be able to allow attorneys access to their files online, allow them to view documents online. It will be password protected and will meet all security protocols. But this will bring us into a new age for juvenile court where we can better serve our citizens. And I couldn't do this without your help and assistance in making this happen, as well as Clerk Andrews' help and assistance making this happen. As was highlighted by the sheriff, and I'm going to tag on to this, technology is expensive. It's very expensive. And I want to thank my own department heads. We've had an exhaustive process. We've met with 6 different vendors for software to review, analyze. We've had several follow-up meetings with the top 3, narrowed it down to 2, and really dug into the proposals. And the cost for this is going to be $750,000 plus an annual maintenance fee. That's approximately $87,000. However, the costs were as high as $1.7 million for some of the proposals. We wanted to do our due diligence and get our best bang for the buck for the citizens of Lake County. And that took months of work internally, several meetings with Clerk Andrews, who graciously came over to share the insight from the courts across the street are looking at new software on the vendors they've met with, some of which are similar, many of which haven't met across the street. This software is being tailored and is scheduled to go live early in 2025. And this will mark an era in juvenile court where even if you had a case, I had a case, I could look it up from home and be passworded into my case only and see my documents on my children. This is going to usher in a new era for the juvenile court, and I want to thank everyone who has been a part, including Mr. Hackman and his team at the prosecutor's office, Ms. Eccles and Ms. Germano, who have been extremely helpful throughout this process and buttoning down the documents, so to speak. So thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you. I believe in access to justice for all. And one of the things that, a no two-tier system of justice, equal justice under the law, access to justice for all. And this new software will do that for the juvenile court. E-filing is not an option in their software at this point. This new software will give them the ability to go down that road. It will provide, they will have the ability to, serve the people much better. As the judge indicated, the software that they're using now is archaic and old. We're going to bring them into the 21st century. They will be more efficient, and the people will have better access. They'll be able to serve the people of Lake County better. And I'm happy to be able to provide surplus funding from title surplus. Once again, I want to give a shout out to my stellar staff. Our public service is powered by wonderful deputies, and they're the ones that make surplus possible. That and the fact that we run our office pretty efficiently. I love giving back to the people, and I really am very happy to be part of this project. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And I see in the notes from our clerk that there's a request for a photo.
Yes, always.
So I would say approach the bench. Many thanks again to Judge DeLeon and Clerk Andrews for joining us today to explicate this investment in our county's future. But back to you, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Resolution establishing discounted rates or charges in the amount of 30% for persons 65 years or older that are eligible for the homestead exemption for water and sanitary services provided by the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Commissioner?
When we first went down this path of studying this and taking this, I'm going to say, pretty significant step forward to show respect, regard, and due consideration to our seniors, it was a great start, but I would offer respectfully an amendment to go from the 30% to a 50%. We do have the debt service coming off from this building. The monies are an enterprise fund. The monies will stay in the enterprise fund. There will be no negative impact to the utilities budget by doing this. And I believe it will put us among the top in the state of Ohio for showing due regard in this manner to our seniors. And I think this is a tremendous opportunity to set half measures aside and make a strong stand on this. So I would respectfully ask that we amend the 30% to 50%, please.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President?
Commissioner?
I know that you've worked with Randy on this. I support the 30%. I would love to see, that proposal by Commissioner Hammercheck in the SIG file or something to that before we really take a hard look at that, since it's being brought to us up right now. But I know you've worked long and hard with this with the utilities to make sure how it affects their budget and what the things they have to do. So I leave it to you to.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I would just say, whenever we review our utilities fees and the ability to give a discount to seniors, our starting point is to work with our sanitary engineer, Randy Roethlisberger, because our goal is to provide a discount to seniors without placing any additional burden on the ratepayers, essentially deriving that discount from the monies that we've saved through the efficient operation of our Lake County Department of Utilities, so that we can benefit our seniors once again without having to raise rates on others. That requires very careful study, and this increase from 25 to 30% reflects that study, where we constantly re-examine how much we can afford to give, because our goal is to always give the maximum possible discount. And in talking with Randy, I asked him how far he believed that we could take it to give our seniors the maximum discount without having to raise rates on other ratepayers for this cycle. I certainly would love to see not just a 50, I'd like to see 100% discount for our seniors, and we're going to continue to work towards that maximum discount. But I do agree with Commissioner Regovich that we have to go through that process with the Department of Utilities. So while my initial instinct would be to say 50% isn't enough, let's do 100, we do have to work through the Department of Utilities process to make sure that we have the fiscal ability to give that savings while maintaining the operations of the department. But that's a challenge to all of us to continue that work with Randy and make sure that we're giving the maximum possible discount. But I do want to talk about what's on the agenda today, which is resolution number 6, because after many years of giving no discount to seniors, I pushed long and hard in my first term as commissioner to get this discount approved. And since then, thousands of seniors have applied and received the benefits of a discounted rate from the Lake County Department of Utilities. But I certainly agree with the sentiment that it's not enough, most in particular because Lake County commissioners only have the authority to grant this discount through our Department of Utilities. We cannot mandate that Aqua Ohio, a private company, or that the city of Willoughby Hills, a municipality, gives the same discount to seniors for the water and sewer fees that they charge. Nonetheless, it's unfair to seniors, I believe, who are taking advantage of water from a private company or a municipality, that they're not given a discount as well. I wish that I had the legal authority to grant that discount unilaterally. I don't. So here instead, we sit at the bully pulpit encouraging all the municipalities, all the private companies that operate in and for Lake County providing water and sewer to match the discount that Lake County provides, to match the hard work and efficiency of the Lake County Department of Utilities so that they too can afford to provide the same discounts to seniors. Once again, we recognize that this is hard work and it requires significant budgeting and planning for the future to do, but I think it's time for all the municipalities in Lake County, as well as the private companies that make profit off of water and sewer, to really look long and hard at the importance of giving a discount to seniors who've paid taxes their entire life, and as we've heard many times from our residents at these meetings, are being taxed out of their homes. So in addition to the discount in this resolution increasing from 25 to 30%, we're also going to be sending a copy of this resolution to every city, village, and township in Lake County, as well as any municipality that operates sewer services in Lake County. Euclid would be a prominent example, and the private companies such as Aqua Ohio, because we strongly believe that they should step up, as Lake County has done, in recognizing the challenges that our seniors face, particularly in this age of inflation, and provide them with the same discount. And we intend to actively advocate on behalf of our seniors. Too often we hear, we care about seniors, we care, and yet there is no action on the things that seniors care about the most, whether it be property taxes, sewer fees, and the cost of living. It's one thing to talk about a senior center, it's another thing to talk about the real expenses that seniors face. And while our senior levy does support some of the finest senior centers in the county, and we have great partnerships with our cities, villages, and townships in making those possible, it's not enough. And we intend to be much more active in pushing that all of Lake County, not just county government, but all of Lake County recognizes the plight of our seniors and steps up to do more. But I do look forward to continuing to work with with Engineer Roethlisberger to continue to maximize the discounts that's possible. But I'm grateful for his hard work in being able to confidently propose that we can increase from 25 to 30%. And anytime it's possible to increase further, we certainly will. But once again, that should not stop with Lake County. Every city, every village, every township, and every company that makes money off of our seniors by selling water and sewer services should also recognize that this discount is a necessity for those seniors to maintain affordability and stay in their homes. So, any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none, I would just ask Mr. Roethlisberger if he has anything to add, given his hard work on this resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think you've said it all. You know, we work together to give the seniors a discount that makes it difficult to afford some of the basic services that are required. So we continue to work hard at that, and we will do whatever we can.
We appreciate your office's hard work and partnership in this. It's clear to me that you truly care about our seniors. I've always said we may be the smallest county geographically, but Lake County is proud to be #1 for seniors and will continue to do so. So hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call please.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of an agreement between the Lake County Board of Commissioners and Western Reserve Community Development Corporation for the fiscal year 2023 Community Development Block Grant Funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution appointing Emily R. Koenig to the Lake County Senior Citizen Advisory Panel for a term beginning March 1st, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2027, and amending the panel operating procedures.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have to say she was amazing. When we sat down, had our interview, Commissioner Regovich and I, Jason Boyd sat in. I have to say, Mr. President, she was, words escape me, but she was a real spark plug. She really knew how to grasp a concept and share it in understandable terms. She had a vision for the future, and she understands that she'll be serving in an at-large position, that you know, she may have a hometown residency, but she would have countywide responsibility. So it was refreshing to hear that coming through loud and clear.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I 100% agree. I was very impressed by both applicants, quite frankly, but she really stood out and didn't hold anything back.
By way of background for the public, the county has voted to expand our senior advisory panel from 5 to 7 members to make sure that there's even more representation from our senior community. As we've explained at previous meetings, when we have requests for senior levy funds, that begins with a review by our staff. That continues to the senior advisory panel, which will now be 7 volunteers who review those requests and make recommendations to the Board of Commissioners. And while they are the advisory panel, they don't have the final say. To my knowledge, the Board of Commissioners has always respected the determinations that the senior advisory panel has made. So it's a very significant role in the community to decide how millions of dollars will be spent for their fellow seniors in making sure that Lake County is the best place to retire in all of Ohio and hopefully the world. But this is a significant responsibility being entrusted to Emily Koenig. And I want to add, I'm not surprised that the Board of Commissioners was impressed in interviewing her because she came unanimously recommended by vote of Mentor City Council. She is a Mentor resident, although as Commissioner Hamercheck points out, she'll be representing all of Lake County seniors in her new responsibility. We're very grateful to Emily. We're very grateful to the City of Mentor for sharing her with us, and I'm confident that she will do great things. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Resolution appointing Lawrence W. Stirk to the Lake County Senior Citizen Advisory Panel for a term beginning March 1st, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2027.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, for the reasons previously stated, very similar. I understand you had recommended him, Mr. President, to the for consideration. What was it, Slovenian club type stuff and activities. He emphasized the value of being frugal, not cheap. There is a difference. It was also refreshing to hear his fiscal stance on things. He had a keen awareness and a desire to serve, and that servant's heart concept really resonated with me. So I believe Commissioner Regovich, I think you had some very favorable thoughts there too as well.
Absolutely. He came with ideas on what more seniors can do and things for them to continue to age well in place, and that was very impressive to me. That he, one thing, and I think that's how he got to ask you a question about it, and you said, "Well, there's this group you can get involved with." So I think he's going to be. I think actually both candidates were spectacular in my mind. And it's going to enhance that panel, and I think it'll be a great representation for the seniors in Lake County. So,
thank you, Commissioner. I would just say the reason why I recommended and encouraged Larry to participate in the senior advisory panel is the day I was appointed commissioner, he started to reach out to me with concerns about senior living in Lake County. In particular, he's very passionate about making technology more accessible to seniors, having more classes available for computer usage, and really maintaining financial awareness. And I said, Larry, you know more about these issues than I do. You're the most passionate advocate. I think you should be the one forwarding these issues on behalf of Lake County. And I was very grateful that he was willing to apply, because we need that kind of enthusiasm. And I think he will serve extraordinarily well. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $975,665.22.
move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $1,516,302.04.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Resolution transferring appropriations within various general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes. That brings us to departmental reports, starting with utilities.
Thank you, Commissioner. Some landfill news. We established our household hazardous waste collection dates for 2024. The first one will be June 1st. It's a few months away, but I wanted to get that out there. And as the last several years, you can still recycle appliances and electronics and those sort of things at the landfill anytime that it's open. So we've eliminated those special days and made it every day to be able to recycle those at the landfill. Also, our new flare was delivered yesterday to the site. It's something we've been waiting on. The initial delivery date was last June, so nearly 9 months, 10 months delay because of every other delay, these days. It took that long to get here. So we're looking forward to having that installed over the next several weeks and help facilitate our methane disposal out at the landfill. So that'll help out a lot.
Thank you. Job and Family Services.
No.
Our County Administrator, Jason Boyd.
Actually, I have no report today, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Madam Clerk.
Yes, the next Commissioners' meeting is going to be on Thursday, February 29th at 10 a.m.
Thank you. And Legal.
No reports, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Hackman. Any old business before the Lake County Board of Commissioners?
Mr. President?
Commissioner?
Just a friendly reminder, I'm going to be persistent about the county's inside millage. We do have a looming increase on property reevaluation. The estimate's going to be about a $1.8 million impact, and we are the taxing authority. I know that it's kind of complicated for the public to understand, but as the taxing authority, we do have the ability to roll back the inside millage. We've been holding a 53% rollback for several years, and most folks don't even know that they're getting that discount. And I really want to emphasize asset classes are going to be a real issue. Residential homes are going to be impacted disproportionately to office buildings, which are on the market selling for half their previously listed value. So those impacts are going to be heavy on our residential properties. Our industrial and manufacturing, they are also going to be hit hard. So this would be a good opportunity for us to show leadership, to work with other taxing authorities who also would have discretionary ability to, not to quote Nancy Reagan, but just say no and forego this increase that'll be a direct impact. So I just want to keep that out in the forefront. There's an opportunity here for us to work together and again show leadership and work with other taxing authorities to do the same. Thank you, sir.
Any other old business for the Commission? Hearing none. Any new business? Any new business? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, sir.
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner